Hello. Is this phone number by any chance Henry's wife's number? You go by Sandy, right? Hello? Do you have any idea what's happened with Henry? As far as I'm aware, Henry went to a class reunion for one of his classes back in middle school, right? So he's gone back to his hometown for it. Well, I happen to be one of his longtime friends and was in the same class as him in middle school. You can call me Emily. It's a really cute name, right? Your name is Emily? Well, I guess it's cute. But to be honest with you, I know hundreds of Emilys, and I'm not really sure the name itself is that cute. What a buzzkill! So, Emily, when are you going to get on with telling me why you're wanting to talk with me right now? Huh? I'm going to assume that you are talking to me right now because you took my phone number from his phone and copied it into yours? I happen to know Henry pretty well, and I'm sure he wouldn't just be handing out my information to you and ask you to text me. So can you please just tell me why you want to talk? For some reason, I'm getting a bad vibe from you. Well, whatever. I'll tell you what I want from you right now then. And it's nothing that I really want from you, but rather what I want to tell you about me. I've gone and taken your husband home from the class reunion. Huh? What are you going on about? You have no idea. In other words, I'm having a little after party with him in this hotel room. That's all. Huh? Listen to this. At first, I was looking to take a completely different man away from that reunion to make my lover, you know? But that dick was with another old fart of a woman, and when I came over to talk to him, she began to bark in my face. Ugh. At that point, I was about to give up and thought me going to that reunion was going to be completely pointless. But as I was thinking that, I turned to see my old friend Henry. All that nasty skin he had on his face before, covered in all these little red pimples, had cleared right up and he was looking sexy. And as for those stupid little round glasses that he was wearing before, they'd been replaced by a stylish pair of brown J-bands. And his choice of clothing? Oh, perfect. Totally stylish. I knew this would be my only chance to see him, and so I made him my new target and started my hunt. And within a few hours, I had him in my grasp coming to this hotel with me. And during that time, did you know about the fact that Henry is married? I knew that, and I learned about it while bringing him to the hotel room. Actually, I've known about the fact that he's been married for a while now, as I still talk to his parents every so often. Anyway, I haven't seen Henry in over 7 years because he and I are just never around one another. And anytime I'm talking to his mom or dad, he's not in town. So you've done all of this while knowing he's married? I really wanted him to be with me, so I had no other choice. When I told him that he's my first love, he began to cry about how much he wanted to treat me nicely and hugged me as we walked to the hotel. And why are you telling me all of this now? Knowing very well that I'm his wife and that I have been married to him for a while now. You know why I'm telling you about this. There's only one thing I'd want, and that's for you and Henry to get a divorce. And then you can hand him over to me so that I can have him forever. You want me to give him to you? You already stole him from me. How could I hand something over to you, or someone, when you've already gone and stole them from me? I just told you, though. He's always loved me, and even though I told him he's my first love, he came out and said he had this huge crush on me back in school. In other words, that means he and I are meant for one another. And that also means that he's always been mine, so I didn't steal him from you. Now that we've run into one another again, and I'm with him now, I'd like you to give him back. So hurry up and get that divorce so I can have him. I guess if he's always had that crush on you, then he was never mine to begin with. So I get what you're wanting to say here. Now, I never really knew about how he looked back in the day, but these days Henry is doing pretty good for himself. He happens to work for a very large company that is partners with other companies all over the globe. I'm sure you already knew about that, though, as well. And about how he's expected to be bringing in around $100,000 a year now with his job? Well, of course, all of that only adds to how amazing he is. And that's why I'm in love with him. And he's in love with me because I'm cute and precious to him. No mistaking that. So, that means he has no need for you anymore. As long as you go through with a divorce, then everything about him will come to me, and I can finally have my man. So hurry it up and get that divorce, please. I'll give you an answer to that after I've had a conversation with Henry about all of this. He said he'd be coming home tomorrow, so I'll sit him down and have a talk with him. Please let him know that, since you're actually right there with him. Will do. But I already know that Henry wants this divorce, so no matter what you try to do, he's going to leave. Henry, right about now you should be back home from your hometown, right? Where are you?
I'm at Emily's apartment.
Is that right? So it's true then? That you ended up running into your old friend from middle school that you always had a crush on and she took you to a hotel last night?
I'm sorry.
So I can take this as you saying you want to get a divorce then?
Yeah.
You have anything else to say to me? Anything at all?
Well, when it comes to you, Sandy, you really are an amazing woman. You say that you can do anything and everything on your own, and that's no lie. You really are able to do everything. So, for myself, well, you happen to support me with both my work and with my private life equally. I'm totally thankful that you've always been there for me helping out, and I want you to know that, but when it comes to the person who knows me best and knows how to please me the most, I'd have to say it's Emily. Also, when it came to her, she has always been in love with me ever since middle school. And she just confessed that to me yesterday at the class reunion.
I see. So the reason you and her ended up being in that hotel room yesterday and why you're over at her apartment now is because you both have liked each other since middle school?
So, I want you to know that whether it was back in middle school or even now, I've always been thinking about Emily, and have always wanted her to be my wife.
All right, I understand. But just because of that reasoning, I don't think we can get a divorce.
Why not?
Even if you and her ended up having a wonderful night with one another, this is a good example of you being unfaithful to me. So I can't just have this settled with a simple divorce. I'm going to make sure I have you and her pay your dues to me through settlements for this, and I'd like to tell both my parents about this and yours.
Well, actually, I was planning on doing the same thing.
One other thing. Since the both of us are working for the same company in the same office, I'm going to have to report what's happened to us to my manager. And I think you should be doing the same then.
Ah, that's right.
I think that you should be prepared to have a lot of people giving you the side eye and things like that after they hear about what you've done.
I guess there's no helping any of that, is there? All right.
Now I'm going to get myself a lawyer and we will sit down and discuss what needs to be done and go through all the paperwork. Once I've had time to talk with my lawyer about all of this and about the money that I can get from both you and Emily, then I'll go ahead and contact you again. Along with that, I'll hand in the divorce paperwork to the courthouse.
All right.
Sandy, thank you so much for getting that divorce with Henry. And by the way, I only just found out about this a little bit ago, but you happen to be 6 years older than Henry, and you work in a higher position than him with that company? That's right. I first met him when he joined the company, as I was in charge of training him, and after some time we grew closer to one another and got married. Well then, you're aware that he's in a much better place now being with someone like me rather than with some old fart like you. And as for yourself, now that you've been divorced by a younger man, that pretty much means that that's it for you, and you'll never be with another man again, right? But don't worry, I'll make sure that Henry is very happy with me and that you are kept up to date on that. Just make sure you don't get super jealous of us, all right? I'm not going to mind you sending me a text about how you feel as though you've come out on top over me. But shouldn't you be a bit more concerned about what's been going on with him? Huh? Oh, no way. Are you going to try and say to me that you know more about Henry than his longtime friend does? Well, I'm sorry, Sandy. I just got home from handing in our marriage papers to the courthouse with him, so this pretty much means game over for you. You've barely even been around him recently, and you're already jumping to marriage? You both haven't seen one another for 7 years, and you thought it was all right to just marry him like that? Are you both going to be okay? I feel like you two should have at least taken a bit more time to get to know one another again. Come on now. You're not going to ever get him back from me, so stop holding on to these feelings. Your time is up, you old fart. He's thrown you away for a much more cute and young girl, and he'd never turn around and go back to you. Hello? What do you want now? What the hell is going on here? What do you mean by here? I'm talking about Henry. What is all of this? Why the hell is this happening? Can you explain what's going on there in a little more detail? Why is he sleeping in so much? His alarm had gone off 4 times before he finally got up and started getting ready for work. And he didn't even bother to wash his face or shave. His hair is still a mess from the pillow, and he's just going to head to work like that? Also, why the hell is he farting so much all the dang time? And when it comes to his work clothes, he just takes them off and leaves them on the floor. Same thing goes for his dishes. He doesn't even bother to turn off the lights either when he leaves a room. And after using the bathroom, he doesn't flush the toilet. And what's worse than any of this? He doesn't even have a good sense of fashion. What the hell happened to the man I saw at the middle school reunion a while ago? Oh no, this is all happening a lot quicker than I was expecting. Huh? What do you mean? He already had problems when in the house with me, never having manners that you'd think an adult his age should have. But at work, he tends to be just as bad, never wearing proper clothing for the job and always farting really loudly in his cubicle. I'm going to assume that he never took his clothing chart with him over to your place? Or that he isn't even bothering to look at it anymore now that he's with you? His clothing chart? It's this whole grid that tells him what shirts go with what pants and about what ties to wear and what jackets. What? Was that all written down inside that sketchbook he had brought along with him to my place? That's the one. I'm sure you already know about how much of a slob he is when it comes to his manners, since you've known him far longer than I have. But he's especially bad when it comes to his sense of fashion, and that's why we had a chart made up for him. I made this whole chart for him that would tell him what clothes to go with what and what days to wear that set on. What? So then, that means that the man I saw at the reunion... You always said it like he had done that by himself, but in reality, I was the one that got him dressed up like that and made him look more appealing. What the hell? You are more than welcome to use that chart with him to maintain a good look on him that otherwise he will never create by himself alone. But I threw it away! Really? Anything that I thought had to do with you, I threw in the trash can outside. And that includes the clothing chart you made for him, along with some of the clothing I thought you bought for him. All right then, so you're saying that you no longer have any of the things that helped him look as good as he once did. Sandy, please, can you please get Henry back to the handsome-looking man he was before he came over to my apartment? Well, that happens to be your job now, since you are his wife and all. As you had told me before, you happen to know him way better than I do, having been around him since middle school, and so I'm sure you'd be far better at helping him out than I am. Right? Well, about that. Can I at least have you buy him a few more sets of clothing and make up another clothing chart? That's not going to happen. Why not? I am not going to take care of the man who ran off with another girl who asked me to divorce him after. I'm no longer related to anything that has to do with him, but I know someone who is. and that's you, Emily. And another thing, 2 weeks ago I made the choice to transfer. Transfer? Recently I was promoted from department manager into a regional manager, and so I have a change of responsibilities now. So, you were moved to a different location? Yep, I'm very thankful for that as well. Thankful for the divorce, I mean. Because I no longer had to be married to Henry, I was free to do as I pleased, which includes moving to another town. What? So because I'm no longer working in the same office building, I've moved out of that town and am about 2.5-hour drive away. And because I'm now a regional manager, I have even less time to worry about what's going on in the lives of two strangers. No way. The way Henry is right now, if he doesn't change, I'm not going to be happy. Well, if that's the case, then he might need his new wife to start working on some strategies that'll help him get back to the man she loved him as. Good luck with that. A few days after that, due to no longer having me around to support his bad habits, Henry started to have a lot of problems with HR at work due to his poor style and manners. And only a few days after he had been talked to by HR, he and Emily got a divorce. Apparently, the only way the divorce worked out was because Emily had to force him into signing the papers, after he had cried and cried about how he couldn't live without her. Due to the reality that the girl he had always loved since middle school turned her back on him and kicked him out of her life, only a little bit after getting married, Henry has gotten very depressed. And because of this, he never left his place and soon lost his job. When it comes to Emily, she wasn't working at the time she took Henry from me, and so after kicking him out, she no longer had the money to pay her rent, and ran back home to her parents looking for help. But they both told her to get out of their faces as they had disowned her not too long ago. She was last seen running away from her hometown for good, and ever since then, nobody has heard a thing about her.
Hey, Maria. Are you going to be working a night shift at that cleaning job of yours again today?
Yes, Lucio. If it's dinner you're worried about, then I put it in the fridge, so just put it in the oven if you want to eat.
That's not what I'm talking about. It's a problem that you're always working night shifts because it's simply unnatural for a wife to be doing such a thing. That cleaning company of yours you work at, surely there are also jobs during the day, right? Why don't you just stop working night shifts and switch to doing day job shifts instead?
Oh, why should I do that? You can earn more money working night shifts than by working day shifts since there's a bonus. I don't think this is the case, but you're not making fun of my job again, are you?
Well, I did just get scolded for doing that at our last family gathering. Our son Glauco getting mad at me was especially humiliating. Which is why I don't intend on bringing it up again.
It's fine if that's the case, but I still can't get over how you told me that if you've got that time to clean for someone else, then clean the house, will you? I mean, I would if it made money, but it doesn't.
Yeah, whatever. I still don't think I like my wife cleaning for someone else. Actually, I don't care if they get mad at me anymore. I'll say whatever I want to say because I'm the husband and pillar of his family. I don't like how you're always working night shifts.
Huh? So now you're not just making fun of my job, but you're also making fun of night shifts as well? And what do you mean you're the pillar of this family, Lucio? Where did you even get that idea?
I'm the husband, and the husband is the pillar of the family. And I'm not making fun of you. This is a valid complaint. To think that our son Glauco is about to get married, yet there's still one person in the family who has a different schedule than everyone else. Seriously, do you know how annoying it is to see you go off to work every night just as I'm about to go to bed? Have you ever thought about what Glauco's new wife Nadia is going to think when she comes here and sees you doing night shifts every day? You're surely going to be looked down upon by Nadia if she finds out that her mother-in-law works night shifts as a cleaner.
No, Nadia isn't the kind of person who would judge others based on something so superficial. And what are you even talking about? I never heard that Nadia was going to be living with us.
Well, she is. Now you know, I guess.
But this is the first time anyone's told me this.
I mean, our son Glauco is our only child, and he still lives with us at our house. So it isn't only natural that his wife would come and live with us once they get married? which means that you're gonna have to live with your daughter-in-law. And I'm not going to have any of it if you two start fighting. Also, if you work night shifts, there's going to be a possibility that you're gonna make Nadia do all the housework that needs to be done during the day.
Seriously? That's the main point of your argument? Why don't you and Glauco do the housework if you're so worried about Nadia having to do everything?
No! Housework is a woman's job. Jesus, Maria, do you have no common sense?
Huh? Wow, so that's how you're going to be. Seriously, you're the only person in this family who still thinks like that. This is 2023, Lucio, not the 60s. Besides, you don't even understand why I'm working night shift in the first place. Trying to argue with you makes my head hurt.
Huh? What are you talking about? I know it's 2024. Don't make fun of me.
My shift is about to begin, so I'll end the conversation here.
Hey, wait! I'm not done scolding you, Maria! Mother, is it true that you and Dad agreed to our marriage on a basis that we're going to be living with you?
Huh? Did your father tell you that?
Yeah, he did. You see, Father sent a letter to Nadia's house titled How to Be a Housewife. It's some sort of rule book he made for Nadia when she moves in here.
What? Seriously?
Sorry, Mom, but we don't intend on living with you guys, at least for the time being. I mean, I'm an only child. So me and Nadia agree that we'll probably have to move in with you guys at some point when you guys get older. But we're not ready to do that just yet, and we want some time for the two of us.
Don't believe what your father tells you. I never thought that you guys were going to be living with us anyways, because I heard about how you two got married and how you've already prepared a new house. Although your father should have heard about it as well. As usual, it seems to have flown completely over his head.
Maybe he forgot about it?
Yes, maybe he did. But knowing your father, it never went in his head in the first place. Please tell Nadia that your father is just causing trouble on his own, and at least I don't intend on making you guys move in with us. Tell her not to worry and that I'm sorry for my husband's actions. I'll do something about your father myself.
Understood. I'm counting on you then, Mother.
Hello, Lucio. There is something I want to talk to you about.
What is it?
It seems that you sent Glauco's wife a strange letter.
Oh, the one titled How to Be a Housewife, right? Those are my conditions that she has to agree to if she wants to live here.
What in the world do you think you're doing? Do you want to get in the way of your son's marriage or something? First of all, a title like that shouldn't be written by a grown man in his 50s. I was actually quite disturbed when I heard you wrote that. And second of all, Glauco and Nadia aren't going to be living with us. I already told you that they've already found a new house and that they're going to be moving there once they get married, right?
What? Of course they found a house they're going to be moving into once they get married. This house. And why in the world would I want to get in the way of my son's marriage? You're the one who's getting in the way of their marriage by working night shifts all the time. I'm telling you, this is going to cause problems between you and Nadia. At this rate, she's going to be one of those wives that looks down on their mother-in-law, and that's never any good.
I already told you that Nadia isn't the kind of person that would judge someone based on something that's superficial. Besides, when did we agree that Glauco and Nadia would be moving in with us after they got married? Because that's what you seem to be telling them.
I mean, it's obvious, so there's no need to say it, right? Of course they're going to be moving in with us. Oh, I get it now. Nadia's already started looking down on you. And this is your way of getting revenge and bullying her in return, isn't it?
Huh? Honestly, I'm impressed at your imagination, Lucio. If only you could use it for something a bit more useful. Who knows, you might make a good short story author or something.
Huh? What in the world are you talking about? Writing short stories isn't a proper profession, Maria. Anyways, if they move in with us, me and Glauco are going to find out about the tensions that you already have between you two. So you're trying to get them to not move in with us no matter what? This is why the quarrels between women are so hard to deal with.
What in the world are you talking about, Lucio?
I guess it can't be helped. You leave me no choice but to resort to my secret weapon. The daughter-in-law that starts looking down on her mother-in-law is a problem too, of course. But the start of all of this mess is you refusing to quit your night shifts. I don't want to deal with the two of you fighting in the house, so leave.
What? Are you being serious right now?
Yes. That also means I'm divorcing you. Don't consider this place your home anymore.
You're confusing me more and more, Lucio. You know that we're renting this apartment that we're currently living in, right? And of course, you also know who's the one paying for the rent, right? If you divorce me, then who's going to pay for the rent?
What? That's what you were worried about? I could pay 200 euros a month as well, you know.
Huh? 200 euros a month?
The rent for this apartment is 1,200 euros a month, right? Glauco pays 1,000 euros a month while you pay 200 euros a month, right? It won't make much of a difference whether I have to pay 200 euros a month or not, don't you think? Also, the housework isn't going to be a problem as well. Nadia is going to be moving in with us, so she'll take your place and do it for us when you're gone.
Wow, I just don't have any words anymore. I can't even bother to argue with you anymore since you seem to not understand a word I say. Fine, if you want to get divorced, then let's get divorced.
I see. All right, I'll get the divorce papers from the city hall. So could you pack your stuff while I'm doing that? So you can leave this house as soon as possible, you know? Mother, Dad said you two were going to get divorced.
Yeah, what he says is true this time. You see, I just couldn't find the motivation to argue with him anymore.
What happened?
Well, you see, he has a ton of misunderstandings, and he keeps deciding things on his own as if all that he says is true. He even said that he didn't tell me about you guys moving in with us since it's so obvious there was no need to tell me in the first place. Not only that, but he thinks me and Nadia are fighting now for some reason and says that it's my fault for not quitting my night shifts.
What?
Yeah, and you won't believe this, but he even thinks that the rent we have to pay for this house is 1,200 euros a month.
Huh? Where did he get that idea?
I know, right? He thinks that I pay 200 euros a month and that you pay 1,000 euros a month.
Huh?
Oh, and he even said that the housework isn't going to be a problem since once Nadia moves in, he's going to make her do it in my place.
Seriously?
There were a lot of other crazy things he told me, but I can't even bother to explain them to you anymore. I'll just send you and Nadia screenshots of the conversation we had by text later.
Looks like you had to put up with a lot, Mom.
That's an understatement, but thanks. You said that you and Nadia would be moving to your new house at the end of next month, right?
Yeah.
I plan on terminating the contract of our current house at the same time your dad and I get divorced. Sorry, but could you and Nadia move to this new house of yours a bit earlier than you had previously planned?
I understand. But still, I wonder what Dad intends on doing from now on. I mean, no matter what Dad says, the truth is that you pay for all the rent plus my living expenses. Without you, this family wouldn't be able to support itself financially.
I gave up trying to explain it to him. Not only does he not understand a word I say, even when I explain it to him very carefully, but he also acts as if he's the one who's right all of the time. I don't think a person like that will ever understand until they're faced with the reality.
Yep. You know Dad best after all. I think you should do whatever you think is best, Mother. Just know that me and Nadia are on your side.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to leave now.
Hmm?
You're at that one day job of yours now, right? I just turned in the divorce papers earlier and I just got done packing right now, so I'm going to leave now.
Oh, finally! You know, I was actually starting to get a little impatient and thought of kicking you out by force.
Is that so? I mean, I had to find a new place to live and sign the necessary contracts as soon as my night shift ended, so it couldn't be helped.
Yeah, whatever. What about Nadia? When is she going to be moving in?
I don't know the details, but apparently she's going to be moving around the same time I leave.
Oh, so that means she's going to be here by tomorrow.
What? I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm going to be canceling the contract of this house, so no one's going to be moving in by tomorrow.
What? What do you mean you're canceling the contract?
I mean, I'm the legal owner of this house, and if I'm going to be leaving, then it's only natural that I cancel the contract, don't you think? I already explained this to you several times, didn't I?
Wait, hold on. If you really are the legal owner or something, then just let Glauco be the legal owner instead. Do the necessary paperwork with the landowners and make it happen.
That's impossible.
Come on, Maria. Do you understand what you're saying right now? The three of us are supposed to live in this house from now on. You can't just cancel the contract because of your selfishness. Is it all right with you if me and your son become homeless?
But I heard that Glauco and Nadia already found a new place to live. It looks like you have a lot of misunderstandings, but you do know that Glauco proposed to Nadia because he was relocated to another region at his job, right? They're going to be moving to near Glauco's new workplace once they get married. Which means that the 1,000 euros a month he was kind enough to give us for our living expenses until now will also be gone.
Huh? What do you mean 1,000 euros a month for living expenses? You mean that he pays 1,000 euros a month to the rent, right?
That's the next thing I wanted to tell you. I pay for all of the rent here.
What? You were paying 1,200 euros a month and not 200?
You've got that wrong as well. The rent is 2,000 euros a month, not 120 euros a month.
2,000 euros a month?
All of this is your fault, you know. The fact that me and Glauco have to step up like this.
Huh? What do you mean it's my fault?
The fact that your company went bankrupt 3 years ago can't be helped, and it wasn't your fault. But after that, you seem to have zero motivation to go out and find another job. All you did ever since then was work one-day jobs when you felt like it. You would earn 800 euros in a good month, but only 300 euros on bad months. We were only able to rent this house that cost 2,000 euros a month in the first place because both of us had proper jobs at the time. Then you lost your job, but for some reason you refused to move. Since you had no intention of finding a proper job again, the only choice we had was for me to work harder than before. Do you understand? That was the situation at the time, so I told the company about it and made a request asking them to let me work night shifts, which pay well. Even after all that, we were still only barely able to get by, which is why Glauco gave us 1,000 euros a month from his own salary. I was really thankful for his help, but I was also ashamed I had to rely on my own son since my husband was such a mess.
I didn't understand much of what you said, but does that mean I'm going to be living in this house on my own from now on?
No. Like I said, I'm canceling the contract on this house, so you need to leave by the end of next month. Unless, of course, you want to buy it for yourself, although, considering how much money you make a month, I think that's impossible.
But, so, all of you are just going to leave me? Why in the world did it come to this?
I can't bother to explain myself to you anymore, so why don't you think of why this happened yourself?
Tell me!
No, I'm done explaining things to you all the time, since it clearly has no effect.
So you're just going to ignore the demands of your husband? I'm the pillar of this family, and you have to do what I say.
But I just turned in our divorce papers to the city hall. You're not my husband anymore, Lucio. And you definitely weren't the pillar of this family, especially these last few years.
But...
Fine, I'll give you a hint as to what was the cause of all of this.
A hint? Tell me!
Delusional princess. Goodbye.
Huh? What do you mean, delusional princess? That hint is too hard to understand. Give me another one!
The first thought that came to me after I got divorced was, I should have done this sooner. I knew that once my son got married and left the house, we wouldn't be able to maintain our current lifestyle, as he wouldn't be able to give 1,000 euros a month to us anymore. I talked with Lucio about this and tried to convince him into moving into a cheaper apartment, but he seemed to like this house a lot and refused to move out. What happened next, you already know. After I canceled the contract, my husband now had nowhere to go and was also practically unemployed. It seems that even he understood that he was in trouble and that he had to do something. So he went to the job hunting center to find a job. It seems he found a job that came with housing, but apparently that personality of his still hasn't changed. He keeps saying these extremely delusional things that, at best, confuse everyone. And he even tries to get the younger employees who've been working there longer than him to do what he says. Because of this, no one wants to be anywhere near him, and so he spends his free time being alone and lonely.